hit you with some trivia.
Good.
I do have some. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 64 of the Hot Stove Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Nunez, joined by Mark. It's just the two of us today. Weird schedule alignments. Josh is in Canada. Austin works a 9 to 5. And Mark is going by himself to the Syracuse game later. So
I am.
My first time
being in the JMA Wireless Dome. I haven't been in there since it was the Carrier Dome. So
I saw pictures from the game last week. Are the screens new?
Yes, they added a whole new jumbotron in the middle of the field.
Okay. I saw that. I was like, those
great.
Definitely look new.
Yeah. I haven't been to a football game in a few years, but I went to a couple of basketball games last year, and they've made some really good improvements so far, and there's more to come.
Really?
We were talking. My boss at the radio station refuses to go to the Dome because he says I don't want to sit on metal bleachers anymore.
That's
2 years. They're going to have seats with cup holders at the Dome either next year or the year after.
That's so fair.
Yeah,
it's 2022. I don't want to be going to a football game.
They just got air conditioning. They were named after the biggest
dome.
It's a dome, and they were named after the biggest air conditioning company in the world. They were named after Carrier for 40 years. They couldn't get air conditioning in the goddamn Carrier Dome.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
Now, it's named after a wireless company, and the cell reception still stinks. I mean, come on, people.
I've only ever been to the Carrier Dome, or the JMA Wireless Dome, sorry. I think twice or three times, and they were all for marching band competitions.
Hell yeah.
I wasn't in marching band. I'd like to point that out. My sister was, and they had states there every year. So we went there. Trust me, I have dignity. All right, I wouldn't be in marching band. Okay.
Yeah, who did band in high school?
Probably Mark.
What nerds would be
Mark, what did you play? What instrument did you play?
Saxophone.
Played the saxophone?
That is, like, believe it or not, with all like the guitar stuff I do, saxophone's still my favorite instrument. I fucking love the saxophone.
Yeah. I have nary a musical bone in my body, so
didn't you try to learn to play guitar for a bit? Wasn't that a thing?
I did for like 2 seconds. I would like to. Like, I'd like to devote myself to more particularly learning like bass, but
bass is fun. I like bass a lot.
I want to buy like a really chunky like bass that's good for like metal playing, and I can like those fucking slams and shit. Yeah, all that. It's really cool. But anyways, we got a show, the normal show that we do every week, where we're going to talk about last week, week 2, and then we're going to talk about the upcoming week, week 3. And Mark and I are going to give our FanDuel lineups. Austin didn't do one again this week. Shocker.
What? That guy not doing a FanDuel lineup?
Oh, that's crazy. And I will go over our results from week 2 as well while I'm sitting here. But first, before I do that, make sure to like the video, comment on the video if you want, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, all that jazz, right? Follow the show on Twitter, at Hot Stove Pod. It's at Hot Stove Pod on Twitter. Follow Mark on Twitter for Outside the Box Score. Saturdays at some point in the morning.
Yeah, we'll see. At @marker_box.
Yeah. But other than that, get into our FanDuel lineups this last week, where it was close with the exception of one. So Mark ended up winning, coming in first place last week. Excuse me. And I can actually update the standings while I'm sitting here because I forgot to do that as well. And my notes app isn't working. So anyways, Mark won last week. Came in the old first place. There we go. So that's 4 points for Mark.
Hell yeah.
With 116.48 points. Josh came in second with 113.78 points. Then there was a little bit of a drop off to Austin. Doing math and talking at the same time is not easy, even though it's simple addition. like adding 1 and 2 together. I actually just stopped talking because I was changing Austin's number from 1 to 3. It hurt to do. Austin came in third, and he got 107.78 points, and then there's a big gap to me, in which I just replaced my own number with 1 as opposed to 4. Again, numbers are hard. I got 89.06 points. Another not great lineup last week for myself. Personally, I'm still trying to get my bearing underneath me with the season. The first couple weeks are really a lot of a feeling out process.
First couple weeks are tough.
Trying to figure out, what the new trends are, all that kind of stuff. I do have to change my lineup though because I realize that it's not good. So I'm going to do that at some point while Mark is talking. But before we get into our favorite or what we learned from week 2, what our biggest takeaways were, whatever you want to do. Mark, I do have a couple of trivia questions for you.
I can't wait to get an even bigger lead on the other guys. This is great.
So I'll give you 2. They're both baseball questions. We did football questions last week, and Mark and Josh and Austin got them pretty easily, honestly. But I do have baseball questions for you. I'll give you 2 of them. I'll give you the harder ones. Okay.
That makes sense.
I got one here. There are 5 players, Major League history, to play 150 games for both the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. I'd like you to name those 5 players.
Wade Boggs.
Correct.
That's a really niche question.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what Yankees game I saw this trivia question on, but I've had this one in the chamber for a while.
Yeah, this is 150 games for the Rays and Yankees.
Yeah, basically players who have played at least one full season with both the Rays and Yankees.
See, in my mind, there isn't a ton of crossover here, but apparently there's more than I would have thought. Jose Molina?
Jose Molina is correct.
God, anytime there's a question where my first 2 answers are Wade Boggs and Jose Molina, where this is a banger of a question.
Yeah. I'm just pulling up baseball reference pages right now.
I'm trying. I feel like there's going to be an obvious one. Maybe that was Wade Boggs, but
I mean, yeah, Wade Boggs was like the obvious one.
Okay.
I just remembered that he played for the Yankees. But there was another one, kind of obvious. He only played 1 season for the Rays, in his age 37 season. But
one of those.
All right, I'll start giving you time frames. We got 1 player who played with the Rays from 1998 to 2000, and then played 3 years with the Yankees between 2004 and 2007. We have another player who played with the Yankees from 2006 to 2009, and then played with the Rays in 2011.
It might not be that one, but I just thought Hideki Matsui?
No.
Okay, because I know he played in Tampa at one point as well. I didn't think he played 150 games, so.
And then we have another player who played 7 total years with the Yankees across the 90s and 2000s, and then 1 season with the Rays in 2000.
So the first one, it was 98 to 2000 with Tampa, and then 04 to 07 with the Yankees?
Roughly. He had a year with the Mets in there, but the 3 other years in that stretch between 04 to 07 was with the Yankees. And then he was traded to the Cardinals in 2007. Played 17. This player played 17 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 different franchises.
Oh boy.
Real utility guy.
My first instinct was Luis Castillo, but I don't think that's right. I don't think he played for the Rays.
Castillo. Yeah.
But he did play for the Mets and Yankees.
I'll give you this. He was a career 264 hitter with an OPS plus of 77.
So the guy stunk. You're giving me.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
You're giving me stinkers here. Don Kelly. I don't know.
41 home runs and 139 stolen bases over his 17-year career.
Oh man.
Yeah, this guy stunk. He wasn't very good.
I'm just trying to think of role players on those mid-2000s Yankee teams. But he must have. This is 150 games in a season, or
no,
just
total?
Oh, okay.
This guy played 257 games with the Yankees and 389 games with the Rays.
Is he an outfielder?
No, he's an infielder.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get this one.
This one, I will tell you, he doesn't have any accolades to give you. Otherwise, I would have.
Yeah.
You. This is Miguel Cairo.
Oh, current interim manager of the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I should have. Mets. Yeah, he was on the Mets in 04, I think.
He's on the Mets in 05.
Or 05, yeah. Yeah, okay. I could see whenever that's the time period, I'm just going through MVP Baseball 2005 rosters in my head.
Because I've been on the Mets that year.
Yeah, and he was on the Mets that year. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this next player, like I said, played for the Yankees between 2006 and 2009. So that 4-year stretch there.
Mm-hmm.
Played for the Tampa Bay Rays in 2011. In his age 37 season. This player is a career 284 hitter with a 104 OPS plus.
Decent little player.
2-time All-Star. 235 home runs and 408 stolen bases in his career.
Ooh.
Did lead the league in steals once in his career.
Can you tell me where he played in 2005?
Do you really want me to?
It's Johnny Damon.
It is.
Okay.
It's Johnny Damon. Yeah.
As soon as I was thinking about it, I was like, a lot of stolen bases, few home runs. It's Johnny Damon. Yeah.
Let's see. He led the league in steals in 2000, playing for the Kansas City Royals.
Yep. I always forget about that 1 year he spent in Tampa.
Yep. Spent 1 year in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, a lot of hits too. Didn't Johnny have like 2,500 hits?
Give me 1 second.
I think he's close because I remember looking at him on the Hall of Fame ballot a couple years ago, and I was like, "Wow, Johnny's got
2,769."
Yeah, 2,700 hits. That's a lot of hits.
It's a lot of hits. All right, this final player is an outfielder.
Okay. Played
for the New York Yankees between 1992 and 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And then played basically a season and a half. He played 208 games with the Rays between 2000 and 2001. A career 255 hitter.
Is it Ruben Sierra?
It is not Ruben Sierra.
Okay.
Career 255 hitter with an 82 OPS plus. 85 home runs and 106 stolen bases. Only at 14 years in majors, only 365 RBI.
See, give me Miguel Cairo and this other fucking stinker.
Yeah, I mean, he only played more than 100 games. 7 times in 14 years.
Did he play baseball in 2005?
Yes, that was the final year of his career.
Where was he in 2005?
The New York Mets.
Oh, great. Now I didn't do it with Miguel Cairo. Now I got to sit and think about their roster in the game again.
I mean, I don't know how prominent he was. He played 39 games that year.
Yeah, buddy, I have like 4,000 hours in MVP 05.
They
I've played with every single
pinch hit
player.
appearances as well because he had 32 plate appearances.
Or he was a defensive substitution.
Yeah.
Outfielder, you said?
Yep.
2005. Played for the Mets.
It was the final year of his career.
I guarantee I'll know the name, but I wouldn't be able to pick him out of the lineup right now. Who is it?
The answer is Gerald Williams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Gerald Williams. Oh, my final clue is going to be that he died this year.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. I forgot. I completely forgot about that. I saw that when I Googled him in the first place. Saw that he passed away and then didn't even mention it. It was going to be the next thing that I said. That was going to be my final clue. Is that he passed away this year. Yeah, Gerald Williams is the.
And that's one too. I probably wouldn't have remembered his first name, but I would have said Williams because I remember talking about when he passed. Someone asked me if he was related to Bernie. And I was like, no, they just both happen to be playing outfield for the Yankees at the same time.
Yeah. You know what I found out yesterday? This is unrelated to trivia, but you know what I found out yesterday? O'Neal Cruz is named after Paul O'Neill.
That's wild.
Yeah. I had no idea. No idea.
I mean, I was curious how a young Hispanic man got the name O'Neill.
That's his first name. Reminder.
Well, yes, but like,
yeah.
Where does that come from? Like,
I assume his parents were huge Yankees fans and he was O'Neill fans.
Yeah, they must have been huge Paul O'Neill fans, which that's kind of cool. It was cool to see him like in the FaceTime with Paul O'Neill, and he's just got the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah,
this is great.
All right, I'm trying to decide what other trivia question to give you.
I'm pretty proud of myself for getting 3 of those, by the way.
All right, I'll give you the choice.
Okay.
Do you want shortstops or Miami Marlins?
I know Marlins is for the brand, but I'm gonna go with shortstops.
Okay, shortstops. There are 2 shortstops in Major League history to have a 20-50 season. Or I'm sorry, a 25-50 season. My bad.
Okay.
25 homers, 50 steals. There are 2 shortstops who have ever done it.
Barry Larkin?
Nope.
Oh, he didn't do that in his MVP year? Okay.
I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna get numbers and years right now as we speak.
A-Rod?
Nope.
Surprised he didn't do that with Seattle.
I mean, he might have. Yeah, I would say he might have done it. Actually, I don't know if A-Rod ever stole 50 bags in that season.
That's the thing that like I feel like he got close, but he probably didn't steal 50.
Well, and I was also gonna posit that he might have done it after he moved to third, but
no, he wouldn't have.
His highest steals total came in 98. He stole 46 bases.
So he was close.
Yeah.
25 and 50. What a string.
Yep.
Miguel Tejada?
Nope.
Yeah, he wasn't that much of a base stealer.
One of these guys, I was genuinely surprised that he stole this many bases in his career.
In his career? You were surprised he stole 50 bases in his career or just in one season?
Just in one season. I didn't know this guy was a runner like that, basically.
It's not Nomar. He never stole bases like that.
All right. I'll give you decades here. One of these players did it in the 80s. And then the other player did it in the 2000s.
It's not Kale, is it?
It is not.
Okay. You said 80s shortstop. I was like, there's no way Kale was swiping 50 bags.
Mid-80s.
Mid-80s shortstops. Alan Trammell.
Nope.
Ooh. I was thinking 87, the year he finished second in MVP voting. Rhino was a second baseman. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
I know damn sure Ozzie Smith never hit 25 home runs.
Okay.
He didn't.
I have to rephrase the question. It was given to me as shortstops. It's actually middle infielders.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I don't think because the guy in the 80s is a second baseman, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Ryne Sandberg?
It is. That's why I got confused for like half a second when you said
Rhino's a second baseman.
and I went, wait a minute. I've been bamboozled. Yeah.
Yeah.
1985, Ryne Sandberg hit 26 home runs and stole 54 bases.
Okay, one was in
finished 13th in MVP voting that year, by the way. This was the year after he won MVP.
Yep.
By hitting 19 home runs and stealing 32 bags.
Yeah.
He did lead the league in triples though, in 1984. So like that's really what pushed him from like a middle of the pack vote guy to the MVP, you know.
But we've talked 80s MVP voting is just wild.
It's absurd.
So the other one
what was the year a closer won MVP?
1984 American League. Willie Hernandez won MVP for the Detroit Tigers. Raleigh Fingers won an MVP, and so did Dennis Eckersley in 1991.
Ridiculous. Anyways, moving on to the second player. The second player, definitively a shortstop. He did it twice. A 25-50 season. I'm sorry, he only did this once. I was looking at his page wrong. That season was arguably not his best season. It is close though.
It's not Jeter.
No.
Here we go.
And I'll give you the year.
Jimmy Rollins?
No. I'll give you the year if you want.
Not yet.
Okay.
Surprised it wasn't Jimmy Rollins. What did he do in 07, the year he won MVP? Yeah. He must have been close.
Jimmy Rollins hit 30 home runs and stole 41 bases.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Rollins never had a 50 steal season in his career. That was what held him back.
That's surprising.
Highest total was 47 in 2008.
Yeah, that surprises me.
A year in which he hit 11 home runs. So
yeah.
He also only ever hit more than 25 home runs twice.
Yeah, I was just thinking the MVP year. I was like, that would be the one that made sense. 2000s. Is this the one where you were surprised how many stolen bases he had?
No, Ryne Sandberg was.
That was Rhino? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not Edgar Renteria, is it?
No.
Yeah, he never had that pop. Jose Reyes?
It is not Jose Reyes. Off track, but shout out.
It's Hanley Ramirez, isn't it? Yeah, for the Marlins.
It is Hanley Ramirez. 2007.
Yep.
Hanley Ramirez hit 29 home runs and stole 51 bases.
Rookie
while hitting 332 and finishing 10th in MVP voting.
But was that his rookie year?
No, his rookie year was 2006.
Okay, it was the year before.
Yep.
So he was better than Jimmy Rollins and the other.
Oh.
No. What the hell? Hello?
I have no idea.
My camera went out, and then it was like a whole thing, and then I came back, and then you weren't here, and it was I don't know.
All right. Well, we are here. Thanks for sticking around. We're back. We had some technical problems. But anyways, we're back and we are gonna keep it moving with the content. If you didn't hear, Ryan Sandberg, Hanley Ramirez, the only two middle infielders with 25-50 season. That's the stat. That's the trivia.
But anyway, I don't get how Hanley Ramirez finished lower than Jimmy Rollins, a shortstop in his division that he had a better season than.
Yeah, I mean, I can look at it right now. It looks here. Well, Jimmy Rollins did lead the league in runs, for what it's worth.
Woo!
But as you said, he had one more home run than Hanley, 10 fewer steals, and his batting average was 36 points lower than Hanley. So, like I said, Hanley finished 10th that year. You know,
Ridiculous.
But anyways, we're gonna get into some football. Week 2. I might have mentioned it before, or maybe I just mentioned it to people outside of the show. I didn't think this last week was a very good slate. I didn't like a lot of the games. It was kind of stupid. Not stupid, but it was kind of bum looking.
I agree.
We had some good contests. Had some good games.
We had some good finishes.
Yeah. Well, I remember. So you know what's funny? I was on break on Sunday and I checked and it was like 2:00, so it was like halftime of the first, like 2:30. It was like halftime of the first games, and I hop into this group chat and I'm like, yeah, looks like this slate is delivered on sucking so far. To which it had, and then I put my phone away and went back to work, and I got lambasted in that group chat. I was like, oh, this guy was making declarations at 2:30 on a Sunday, and I was like, well, you know, I was right. To that point, the games did suck. That doesn't mean there was no room for them to be good later. It was just saying the games had sucked to that point, and they did. But we got some good finishes. The Miami-Baltimore game in particular was a lot of fun. I don't even remember what was Sunday Night Football last week.
It was a real stinker. It was Packers-Bears.
Yeah. It was sarcastic. It was a rhetorical question. I didn't need it.
I actually didn't remember for a second. I was like,
the game wasn't good.
Oh, yeah, it stunk.
Yeah. But in keeping with something that Josh has been talking about the first few weeks of this show, the biggest thing I took away from week 2 is kind of twofold. The AFC South is worse than we thought it was, generally speaking. As in, like, the Titans are really bad. Like, really bad.
They're horrible.
And the Colts are bad.
Texans might win that division.
No, I mean, I was thinking about this all day on Sunday about how Josh predicted the Jaguars to win the division, and like I told him
shit on him.
I told him that was the prediction I didn't shit on, because the one I did shit on was that he had Miami winning the AFC East.
That's right. That was a really bad one.
Which, sure, like in a strange year could happen. It's just not something that you should be like hedging on going into a season. There's a difference between weighing possible outcomes and living in reality. But anyways, he's starting to look right. Because I want to talk about the Colts for a second. And I feel bad as the president of the Matt Ryan fan club, as the person who will steadfast make his Hall of Fame case. And it's not even mostly his fault, but I think the Colts thought that they were like getting an upgrade from, not from Carson Wentz, but like from like the Phillip Rivers year. And it turns out that Matt Ryan, under these circumstances, is just going to give them what Phillip Rivers gave them in 2020.
They're the same quarterback at this point.
They're the fucking Spider-Man meme.
They're the Spider-Man meme. Phillip Rivers 2020, Matt Ryan 2022 are
right.
The Spider-Man meme. Same player.
Well, and part of it is because, like, I think it's different in that, like, I think Matt Ryan is currently in a vacuum a better player than Phillip Rivers was 2 years ago, but the situation is much worse. Much worse. In particular, their offensive line that, like, I think we've gotten it so well ingrained into our heads that, like, oh, the Colts have a great offensive line, yada yada. They don't.
No, it's very bad.
It's bad. Like, it's a bad group. It's the same thing with the Titans. In particular, it's a bad group. And on the other side, defensively, the Colts not only don't. It's weird because they do have good players on their defense. It's just like they have good players in all of the spots where, like, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
like their best defensive player is an off-ball linebacker. You know,
Great.
He caused a lot of turnovers. Shaq Leonard is a great player. True.
Oh, he is great player.
But their second best player is an interior defensive lineman. Last I checked, DeForest Buckner is not Aaron Donald. So, you know, like this is the problem with them, is like they don't quite have the personnel, and the personnel they do have doesn't really fit into a modern defensive game. And in the same way, Gus Bradley can't blitz 95% of the time because, like, he likes to do, because they don't have the people for it, but they also can't run base because their pass rush is non-existent, and outside of Stephon Gilmore, their corners aren't very good. Like, it's just a bad group, generally speaking, and, like, the good parts of the group don't fit together anyway. So the Colts defense, their offensive line being not good, and then their receiving core just being what the Falcons were in, like, 2018.
It's amazing how Matt Ryan just went right back into the exact same situation here.
Dude, that's kind of what I thought of. I was like, Matt Ryan is honestly, he just traded black for white.
Yes.
He traded black and red for white and blue. Like,
it's the exact same situation, except with a better running back.
Yeah, it's reverse Falcons.
Yeah.
Is what's going on right
instead now. Of two absolute stud receivers, he's got one pretty good one and an absolute stud running back.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, this week is like, and it doesn't get any easier. They play Kansas City this week, but
yeah, that line's only like 5.
This week is full of, like, or not full. This week has some good, like, back against the wall kind of games, and we can look at that when we look forward to this week. But the Colts are in that kind of a situation where, like, I don't need you to win. I mean, it'd be preferable to not start 0-2-1, but the division is bad enough as to where, like, okay, cool, right? But you gotta do something. You gotta play football at some point. Otherwise, we're gonna start putting the nail in the coffin of this season, and it's a similar thing to Tennessee, because you blow the game against the Giants in week 1, and then, I mean, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt by getting trounced by Buffalo last week.
Most teams will get trounced by Buffalo.
Exactly. The Bills kind of just do that.
They did it to the defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah. But I will say that Tennessee's weaknesses have come full bear now that, like, just like a couple of cogs have kind of clicked the wrong way. Age is finally starting to hit Derrick Henry. He wasn't quite as efficient as his career metrics last year. That's usual. That's normal for a running back coming off a 2,000-yard season. All 8 of the running backs that have had 2,000 yards now, including Derrick Henry, have lost at least a yard per carry in the following season. Yeah, no, it's bad.
Full yard. That's wild.
Yeah. Because, well, at some point, to run for 2,000 yards, you have to be running like 5.8 yards per carry.
That's true.
You have to be hyper efficient to do it, generally, unless you're getting 30 carries a game. But some of them have also bounced back in the second year afterwards. It's hard for Derrick Henry to do that when they have a bottom third to be generous offensive line in the NFL.
It's abysmal.
Meanwhile, and the other cog that clicked in the wrong direction, they don't have AJ Brown anymore, right? And I think part of that was admission by the Titans that like they're kind of just ripping up this window. For example, like I don't think Mike Vrabel's job is in jeopardy, nor do I think it should be. Honestly,
he's a really good coach in my opinion.
He literally just won Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
like 7 months ago.
Yeah.
So, but like the writing's on the wall in that sense of like, I don't know how much longer Derrick Henry's going to be there. Ryan Tannehill most likely will not be the starter come next season. They didn't want to pay AJ Brown. If they thought they could continue to contend, they should have and would have paid a guy who's a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
I don't know if Tannehill is going to be the starting quarterback come next week. Next season.
I mentioned it before the season started. I do think it behooves them to like see what Malik Willis has, but it's like rock and a hard place kind of deal where like you can see what he has to some extent, but like the situation and the offense is so bad. Like how much can you really glean in terms of like his ability when they have no one to throw it to, an aging bulldozer at running back and a terrible offensive line? Like what?
Well, I will say I sort of get what the Titans were trying to do. Oh boy, did we lose fucking connection again? Oh my god.
Games that I do like. The kind of guys Mark's back, that has the kind of guys
oh my god
to defend Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That is simply too much speed for any sort of secondary, and you have to have like 2 elite corners to be able to deal with that. It is not their fault. It is simply the Tua Tagovailoa of it all that is going to swing whether or not Miami's offense is any good. 2 weeks ago, he was okay against New England. They probably should have won by more, but he didn't play very well. Last week, he played exceptional football.
I couldn't believe that stat line when I like looked at the box. I was like 460 and 6.
Yeah, true college numbers. Yeah.
It seriously, it reminded me of him at Alabama. If they ever let him play more than 3 quarters. Like
yeah. Yeah.
It was absolutely wild stat. Who throws for 6 touchdowns?
Not very many people.
No, the NFL record's 7, and that's like 8 guys.
Yeah. But this game is actually most fun to me because of, and it's an unfortunate reason, the Buffalo defense, the kind of injuries that they've had. Jesus, what the hell is their head coach's name? Sean McDermott. Is that his name? Yeah. Sean McDermott confirmed today that I think it's Jordan Poyer, or no, Micah Hyde and Jordan Phillips are out for this upcoming week.
Oh boy.
They could be without Matt Milano.
Oh boy.
They're going to be without Dane Jackson, who was their primary outside corner last week. or the first 2 weeks of the season. So this Buffalo defense is banged up, for sure. And I think
that's lucky to be alive.
Yeah, that was
that was horrible. Because my dad and I we were flipping back and forth between that and the Eagles game, and so we flip back and see an ambulance driving onto the field, and we're like, who died?
Yeah.
And so I looked it up on Twitter and found the video, and I was just like, jeez, like,
yeah.
Ugh.
Is your dad an Eagles fan? What team does your dad align with fandom wise?
My dad now is a Bills fan. He was a Chargers fan and a Falcons fan, like at the same time. And then the Falcons lost the Super Bowl, and the Chargers moved from San Diego to LA. He said, "Fuck it, I'm a Bills fan."
Okay.
Which I really respect the fact that he's just like, I don't care anymore.
That's fair. Like, that's like LeBron level jumping teams.
Yeah.
You know? Like how LeBron is a Browns fan and a Cowboys fan and a Rams fan.
Yeah. Well, LeBron he's just fake. My dad was actually a fan of those teams, and they just said, "Nope, I'm done."
No, that's conviction. But I think the injuries in the Buffalo defense kind of reflect themselves in the fact that the line is only 5.
Yep.
If Buffalo were fully healthy, I'd expect the line to be a little bit more. I don't know if you saw this week, but according to most sports books, Buffalo is the widest not the widest, the heaviest Super Bowl favorite, like currently, since the 2007 Patriots.
I did not see that. What are the Bills' odds at right now?
I don't know. I heard that on a podcast. They didn't give the odds.
I will check.
They mentioned, yeah. If you could look that up for me, that'd be fantastic.
I will check on an unnamed.
So DraftKings has them at plus 400.
Yeah, I was going to check on DraftKings.
Okay.
Plus 400.
Yeah.
We are in week 3.
And the Bills have 4-1 odds to win the Super Bowl.
You know what?
I'll say each team with the exception of 2 has played 2 football games.
Yeah, and guess what? I don't hate it.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I get it. I understand.
Even though they played a horrible team last week, but
yeah. I'd also like to congratulate Austin while we're talking about bets here for giving us the biggest prop bet layup this side of Kyle Schwarber over 30.5 home runs, with his Nick Chubb over 1,200 yards prop.
Free money.
He's already at 341 through 3 games.
Yeah, so free money.
Yeah. And like I said to the chat last night, I did also put a little sprinkle on him to lead the league in rushing this year at like plus 1,200.
That's looking good as well.
Very nice. So Mark, let's backtrack a little bit. Where we had some connection issues, I moved ahead to week 3. Let's backtrack a little bit. What was your biggest takeaway from week 2?
Well, I was going to bring up the Dolphins, just because I think that is an emergence for this offense. I'm not super duper high on Tua. We still see those duck throws from time to time.
His second or third touchdown, the one to Tyreek Hill, that was like a deep pass.
Yeah, that Tyreek had to like back up to catch because he's just too fast.
He's just too fast, and Tua doesn't have the arm strength to push it that far.
But it's amazing how receivers that just get open just find ways to score.
Yeah.
Like Jalen Waddle was there last year, and Waddle had a nice year. He was like the only good part of that offense last year, really. I guess he had a decent year. But now with Waddle and Hill, like you said, you need 2 top corners to cover them. You can throw your safeties back there and try to help cover the deep ball all you want. It ain't gonna work with those guys. So now all of a sudden, that opens up their offense so much more. I'm not going to sit here and say that Tua's going to throw for 460 and 6 every week, but the Dolphins got a lot scarier to me last week. all of a sudden I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this team's going to be better than I was giving them credit for, because I was kind of down on the Dolphins. I think that team is going to be even better than I thought. I thought that was a really interesting game last week. And also, I just got to say, I'm fine with the Eagles not scoring any second half points if Darius Slay is just going to have like 9 interception opportunities.
Yeah, I think did we talk about it last week on the show, on the episode that never came out?
I was there.
Oh, right. You're right.
I wasn't even going to be on that episode.
You're right. I think we talked about it on the episode that Mark wasn't on, that also never got released. That, like, we were talking about the Eagles defense, and Austin mentioned like something like, oh, I wish the Eagles defense would like play well. And I was like, well, give them 1 week. And then this past Monday happened, and they showed that they're good at football. I will say partially on the Dolphins offense that I do think it's there are a couple of different factors to it. One of which being Baltimore's defense isn't good at this point in time. They've still got a couple injuries in the secondary, and their pass rush is non-existent.
Yeah, they can't rush the passer to save their life.
So I do still wonder how Miami's offensive line, which did not play very well even in week 1 against New England, how their offensive line is going to hold up against against an actual pass rush. That's something that we've yet to see.
Von Miller is there, yeah.
Yeah, the Bills, if there's one thing the Bills will do, even with all these injuries, they will get to the quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Very simply, they will get to the quarterback. So we will see. And like I said, of this part 2 of the episode, that matchup right there, Miami's offense versus Buffalo's defense, is the reason why, like, that is the game. I'm glad it'll be on local TV, because that is the game I am honed in on this week. Like, that is easily the most exciting game of the week to me.
Also, I don't want to overreact here. Going back to the Eagles for a second. The Eagles are a top what roster in the NFL?
I said it before the season started that I thought they had the best roster in football.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, second best roster in football behind Buffalo.
Yeah, I was going to say top 3 because I think Buffalo has the best roster, and then I could hear arguments for like Tampa Bay when they're healthy. Like, I'd hear those. This team legitimately, like, even with all the hype that Hurts is getting now because he did have such a great last game. By the way, if there's still any questions from Eagles fans about who should be quarterbacking this team, you're not an Eagles fan. Get the fuck out.
Damn.
Austin, if you're listening, if you're still questioning Jalen Hurts, I don't want to talk to you about the Eagles anymore.
Trust me, Austin's not listening.
Yeah, anyways. I know he never watches the episodes back. Not like me. I actually do that.
Do you?
Because I'm an egomaniac and I want to see how I sound.
Okay, I don't. I've never watched an episode of this show willingly.
I don't watch them all, but I do go back and watch some of them. But Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this team. Jalen Hurts is looking like a top 12-ish quarterback in the league. I feel like that's not crazy to say, especially because most quarterbacks this year have been bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just basing off the first 2 games, then I'd put then Jalen Hurts is looking like a top 5 quarterback in the league, right?
Well, yeah, but that's taking like into consideration some of these guys are going to start playing better. At least
in theory,
I think. But just the Eagles are maybe the NFC favorite, like, in my mind.
This is all making me look very smart, Mark. There's nothing I love in this world more than vindication.
I'm completely vindicating you. I think the Eagles right now should be the NFC favorite.
And I love nothing more than being right. And so far, through 2 weeks, this will all prove to be very, very stupid when we look back at the end of the season, I'm sure, right?
Maybe.
Somehow the Eagles are going to lose their next 10 games. And
Jalen Hurts is going to get into a horrific bicycle accident.
Right. And we're going to look like idiots. But as of right now, I feel good being right. Mark, we move forward here. what is the game you're looking forward to most this upcoming week, and why?
I mean, again, it's hard for me not to say Bills Dolphins. I will stay away from it because we already talked about it. Um, I'll go with one, and this is going to be a very strange answer, and it's Bengals Jets. This is do or die for the Cincinnati Bengals.
They were the other team that I was referencing when I was talking about like back against the wall games this week. Kansas City showed me, or not Kansas City, Indianapolis showed me something. Both of the Raiders and the Titans, the two of them, they're playing each other, right? One of these teams has to do something, and it's the Titans more so than the Raiders, because I don't actually think the Raiders haven't, their defense isn't good, but like they've played fine football.
They have.
And if a couple of things here or there break, they're 2-0 rather than 0-2. But that's beside the point. The Bengals are the other one. The Bengals, you got to do something for me. You got to keep Joe Burrow upright. How about that? We got to try not having him on like 100 sack pace like he is currently.
And it's interesting. It's 111, by the way. He's on pace to get sacked 111 times. Shout out Boy Green for saying that on the radio earlier as he was picking the Jets in this game. By the way, I'm all over Bengals -5 because I do think they are going to win this game. And this is a do or die game a lot because of how the Bengals have played so far, but also people might forget this is a revenge game for Cincinnati. They got embarrassed by Mike White and the Jets last year. The Mike White game was against the Bengals. Joe Burrow might put up a Tua stat line because he's going to be like, I'm not going to be outplayed by the Jets again with Joe Flacco. Are you kidding me? So I think this game's going to be interesting. Also, though, the Jets have shown some spunk. The Jets have shown some fight, and I usually will take the first opportunity to shit on the Jets because I think they're a joke of an organization, but they've shown me a little something. That was a good win last week. That was a really good win last week. Joe Flacco looked like Joe Flacco,
which is not saying much, but he looks like a guy who will throw it down the field.
Yeah, and maybe can provide a spark for this Jets offense. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I do like Cincinnati to win because, like I said, revenge game for the Mike White game, but
I completely forgot about the Mike White game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one. I really do.
Yeah, that should be an exciting game. Now, Mark, we're going to get into our favorite bets of this upcoming week. And while you're going on, I completely forgot to do this. I'm gonna pitch it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some of your favorite bets, some of the games that you're playing, and some of your favorite props as well, because we know you're the prop guy.
I am the prop guy.
In the meantime, I'm gonna fix my FanDuel lineup. So, Mark, take it away with your betting segment for this week.
All right. So, like I just said, I'm all over the Bengals minus. It was 5, now it's 6. So the money's going towards Cincinnati. Call me a square, whatever. Taking a 6-point favorite. I don't care. I do really like the Bengals in this one. Like I said, I think they are going to show out against a Jets team that isn't great at rushing the passer right now. Their defensive line is good, but not great. So hopefully the Bengals can keep Burrow upright for a little bit longer, like the Bengals -6. I like Bills -5, but with those defensive injuries, I don't know about that one. Chiefs -5.5 over the Colts. Yes, please. I'd take this game if it was 9.5. I think the Chiefs are going to blow out the Colts. I think the Colts stink. Listen, Matty Ice, I love you. Always have. Like we said, you're 2020 Phillip Rivers now. It's just the same. So I really like the Chiefs to really blow out the Colts in that one. I might even tease that to like 8.5, get a little better odds on that. What else do we have here? In a pick'em, I like the Falcons money line. They're -105 to -115 for the Seahawks. It's basically a pick'em. It's a 1-point spread. But I do like the Falcons in that one. Seahawks is a home favorite. It's just I sort of like this Falcons team more than I like the Seahawks team. I know the Seahawks have Metcalf and Lockett, and that's great. You still have Geno Smith throwing the ball to those two guys. Marcus Mariota ain't much better, but I kind of like what I've seen out of Mariota this year. The Falcons had a really nice comeback last week against the Rams, so I think there's some juice in that Falcons offense, especially if they start getting the ball to Kyle Pitts, because if they do that, look out. If you want a dog play, I'm on the Cardinals plus 3.5. I actually kind of like them to win that game outright at plus 155. I'm still really concerned about Matt Stafford's elbow. He is not throwing the ball down the field. The Rams offense looks all the more worse for it. I know they scored, 31 points last week, I think. But again, that was against the Falcons. I never said that Falcons-Seahawks game was between two good teams. The Falcons aren't very good. But I do think the Cardinals are a pretty good team, and I like the resilience that Kyler Murray showed last week. Some of those throws he was making down the stretch were unbelievable. When he found A.J. Green in the end zone there, he put it like between a hole that I didn't even know existed. So I like the Cardinals plus 3.5, maybe a little sprinkle on the plus 155. For props, I'm just going to go with some touchdown scores because that's what I like. I like to root for guys to score points. That's why I like to bet overs as well. Jalen Hurts minus 110 against the Commanders, anytime touchdown score. Jalen Hurts is going to be running the ball. We know he's going to be running the ball. They're probably going to give it to him on the goal line at least once. Excuse me. Had to sneeze there for a second. Oh boy. God damn it. All right. So I liked Hurts to get the ball on the goal line at least once. One with a little juicier odds because Hurts is minus 110. Jalen Waddle plus 145. With that Bills secondary, I think Waddle is going to get one. I would take either Hill or Waddle, really, but I like Waddle. He was targeted 19 times last week, which is just an absurd number.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, he was targeted 19 times last week.
That's absurd.
Tua's going to try to find Jalen Waddle, especially if he can get some points on it. So I love him at plus 145. Another rushing one I like Lamar Jackson, plus 135 anytime touchdown score. You know, he is the heart and soul of that Ravens offense. He is going to run the ball similarly to Jalen Hurts, and they are going to run the ball with him on the goal line. And last one, plus 135 as well. Receiver again, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This guy is a stud. Lions are playing the Vikings. I like the Lions in that game, by the way. They're another dog. I want to say they're 3.5-point dogs. I like the Lions straight up in that game.
Yeah, it was 3 the last I saw.
Yes, yeah, 3. So I'll see what the money line is. I forgot to mention that one. I really like them as a dog. Oh, now it's 6. Oh God, take the money and run with the Lions. They're plus 6 now.
Oh yeah, I love Lions plus 6 is one of my favorite bets of the week, personally.
Yeah, Lions plus 6. I'm going to be throwing a sprinkle on the money line, plus 215. I think they can win that game outright. I know Kirk Cousins isn't playing in primetime this week, so it's a little different. But, man, oh man, did he look stinky. Kirk Cousins usually doesn't play well in primetime, but he usually doesn't look that bad. Kirk Cousins looked like a D2 quarterback playing in the NFL last week. So he did. I'm going to take the Lions plus 6 and the little sprinkle on the money line.
All right. Yeah, cool. Just in time, I literally just finished my FanDuel lineup. So
I was about to ask, do you need me to come up with more? Because I can.
No, good. You're good. Good. My stuff is going to be a little straight this week. A couple bets that I do like, and I'm trying to figure out what one is going to be my pick for the official Hot Stove Parlay. And for some reason, the sun decided to go away, so now I look like my camera is in 240p. Give me 1 second.
Backlighting, baby. Or front lighting, I should say.
But anyways, a couple bets that I do like this week. Like you already mentioned, I like Detroit plus 6 at the Vikings. Kind of just literally just what you said. I understand that Kirk Cousins is prime time, and I do think that I actually might even. Oh God, I was about to say like the total's at 52.5. So never mind.
No, That's a really
that's high. But like this game feels like a high scoring game.
It does.
To me. Because both of these teams' strengths are their offenses, and I do think that Detroit is going to have a good amount of success. Because we saw Minnesota's pass rush be swallowed up by this Eagles offensive line, right? And there is maybe one other team in the NFC that has a better offensive line than the Eagles. And that team is the Detroit Lions, who the Vikings are also playing this week. So Lions plus, I do like that. I like the Packers outright on the road at Tampa Bay. They're currently plus 100. The action has moved a teensy bit towards the Bucks since the start of this recording. I like them to win at plus money. I actually think I already have money on that. So I kind of like the Packers there. Both teams, these two teams right now are the fucking Spider-Man meme. These two teams are like, hey,
no receivers,
doing the same
quarterback.
Right, exactly. But I do think no offensive line because they're all injured.
Yep.
I do think that as it stands currently, Green Bay has, ever so slightly better offensive weapons. Partially comes down to their running back tandem. And I like them to win this game. The other one, my third pick, and I'll leave it here. This is my favorite pick of the week. This is my pick that's going in the parlay. Just saw it, and my eyes went wooga when I saw it. Chargers -3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday at 4:00. I understand the Jags have looked all right? But they have played the Commanders, who have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Colts, who we've already talked about. And this Chargers defense, if I remember correctly, give me 1 second. This Chargers defense is better, like, threefold than what the Jaguars have played already this season. And I think it's a little bit of a situation of like Chargers coming off of a bad defeat, Jaguars making the road trip after a big win kind of thing. And I understand why the line is at 3. I get it. Justin Fields is hurt. Or not Justin Fields. Justin Herbert is hurt, right? I understand that. And I think that could lead to a bit of a tweaking of the offensive game plan, a little more short, less aggressive shots on the field. But I just think this comes down to the Chargers defense being so good that, like, there's a non-zero chance that the Jaguars don't score more than, like, 13 points in this game.
Yeah.
And as good as the Jacksonville pass rush has looked so far, I also think inarguably, the Chargers are the best offensive line they've played. They're going to be really tested in the trenches on both sides in this game. And I love the Chargers -3, even with the little tweaking of the game plan you might have to make. So yeah, I'm going to go with Chargers -3. Mark, what's your play?
I'm going to get nasty with it. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Anytime touchdown score?
Anytime touchdown.
That is nasty.
It's nasty.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, by the way, is now looking for a record. If Amon-Ra St. Brown catches 8 balls in this game, he will now own the longest streak in NFL history with 8 catches consecutively. He is at 8 currently. This will be his 9th. Does it on Sunday, and that'll be an NFL record. So,
and here's the thing too. They're running like Deebo Samuel like rush plays with him now too. They did a couple of those last week. So there's just even another way for him to find the end zone.
Yeah. Like, the dude is # good at football.
This guy's really good. And like I said, between him and Swift, they are the heart and soul of that Lions offense. And I really like him to find the end zone in a game that I think they'll probably win.
Yeah, and Josh has already given his pick. He's gonna just give us a little bit of a shaking and moving here. He's gonna take Kansas City money line
Okay.
-230. You know, evens it out a little bit with the Among Us St. Brown pick being like +130 at the moment.
Mhm.
So it's looking like it's gonna be Kansas City money line, Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown score, Chargers -3, and then whatever Austin gives us, if he gives us anything. We will see.
Yeah.
But before we have that out, Mark, the two of us have FanDuel to do.
Yep.
Now you can go first because I know you already had a player on Thursday night. So
Mhm.
if you'd like to go through the rest of your lineup, go for it.
Yeah, I had Amari Cooper last night, got me 19.6 points. Thank you very much, Amari. I know Josh had him too, which bums me out a little bit. But the rest of it is almost identical to my lineup last week. I went back with the Derek Carr, Devontae Adams stack. It didn't help me last week, but I'm feeling good. Devontae Adams does not have back-to-back bad weeks, and he certainly will not be on a team that goes 0-3. So I really like Devontae Adams to have a big week this week. And if he has a big week, then Derek Carr has a big week. Aaron Jones and Miles Sanders are my two running backs. I'm going back to the well with Miles. I feel like that's a well I'm going to go to quite a lot. Same with Dallas Goedert at tight end because Goedert just gets targets. He's good for 8 targets a week because he is one of Hurts' favorite offensive weapons. So with the value you can get Dallas Goedert at, I'm fine just having him being my DFS guy every week. My other two receivers outside of Adams, I've got Tyler Lockett in what I think has shootout potential in that Atlanta-Seattle game, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Defense, even though it doesn't matter, I didn't go completely bottom of the barrel. I took the Eagles against the Commanders. Loved what I saw out of them last week. Loved the chance for a few sacks on Carson Wentz. Some of these Eagles guys that played with Carson are going to want to get to him. So I like a couple of sack potentials. I always like an interception potential with James Bradbury and Darius Slay, and who knows, one of those might end up going back to the house. So all in on the Eagles defense as well.
Very cool. My new lineup, my Roto-Rooter Rev It Up lineup of the week for FanDuel is going to start with a game stack here. In the Cincinnati New York Jets game. Like you said, to be a bit of a bounce back, a potential blow up spot for this Bengals offense that has kind of sputtered out the gate a little bit. So I'm going to be going with Joe Burrow, bringing him in with Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, bringing the two in, and then we're going to run it back with the guy that not only has 22 targets in 2 games this season for the New York Jets, but he's the guy that after game 1, a game in which he was targeted 8 times and had 4 catches for 52 yards, the management, like the front office and the coaching staff of the Jets, met after week 1 and said, in a game, again, which he went 4 for 52 on 8 targets, we need to get Garrett Wilson the ball more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they said. And that resulted in him getting 14 targets and cashing in on 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is going to continue to be the biggest target getter for the Jets. Like I have a feeling that it's full steam ahead at this point, especially because it's not like it's a scrub prospect wise. Like, he was an incredible wide receiver prospect. When you watch some of the stuff, when you watch some of the stuff that he does, specifically in his route running, it is unbelievable. So yeah, I think it's full steam ahead on Garrett Wilson in terms of season long being like top 25 receiver rest of the year. Like, he has the possibility to be the rookie wide receiver this year between him and Drake London, really. But yeah, so we're running it back with Garrett Wilson. Secondary stack, we're actually going to go with 2 running backs here. 2 running backs on a secondary game stack. It's going to be that Minnesota-Detroit game. Now, not Dalvin Cook, even though he hasn't scored yet this year, isn't on much of a price downturn. And partially that's because They're playing the Lions, who, according to FanDuel's numbers, according to FanDuel scoring, are the worst NFL defense against the run this year against running
week
backs.
1 against Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. But in a game where I think Minnesota is going to be able to move the ball pretty well, I do think Dalvin Cook has a good spot to finally come into it this season. And we're running it back with DeAndre Swift. It's not like Minnesota's run defense is any good.
Yeah.
And both of these guys can be involved in the pass game, yada, yada, whole thing, right? Loosey-goosey plays. Got 2 of them. One in the tight end slot, that's Evan Ingram. I don't know what you're saying. Evan Ingram, disgusting. He also plays for the Jaguars.
It's horrible.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. But he does have 12 targets. He hasn't done anything with them. He got 8 targets last week. Finished with 7 catches for 46 yards. So, like, that's okay.
It's something.
It's something. It is certainly a tight end who plays football.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you can help that he gets 5 catches, maybe he falls into the end zone. Then right. Then we're going to go with David Montgomery. I don't know if you've figured out the Bears game plan this year, but it's run, 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 run some more. Justin Fields has 22 pass attempts through 2 weeks this season.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how many completions beyond the line of scrimmage Justin Fields has this year?
3.
8.
Oh.
In 2 games, 8 completions beyond the line of scrimmage. So a lot of these balls are going to running backs. Lots of swing passes, bubble screens, that kind of thing. David Montgomery stands to gain a lot from this game plan against the Houston defense that isn't good. In a game that should be, in theory, competitive. So yeah, I like it. And then my defense is going to be the Raiders defense. They're cheap. The Titans aren't good. Maybe they can get some turnovers, some sacks. That's it.
That's
the Raiders defense. Yeah. So yeah, those are our lineups. I don't know what everybody else's lineup looks like.
No.
But we'll see come next week. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We love you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at HotSoapPod. It's at HotSoapPod on Twitter. Follow Mark on Twitter at marker_box for what outside the box score. Saturdays.
Yes.
Saturdays at some point.
That show will likely be before this comes out.
No, I'm putting this out tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So tomorrow, listen to that. Saturdays at some point in the morning. Listen to that show on Twitter. In the meantime, we love you. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.